You are now tuned into the sounds of
Big Nate Sports Talk.
It's on all the time, anytime.
Friday night, laid back, feeling smooth. Looking for just a little something to get into. Tired of the same old scene.
Looking for something different, if you know what I mean.
So when I saw you, there was no in between. You came up to me like something from out of my dreams. A woman from the pages of a magazine. Deep inside my heart, you scream. I can't understand. Hey, just wanna hold you. Hey, baby, how you do the things I'm watching you do. While we're in this club, just wanna make some love. All I wanna do, my girl, is dance with you. Now we're in this club, your cheek pressed to my face, trying not to lose control, but I ain't got no time to waste, cause I came up in the club,
Dead and face to face with perfection.
and it would be a lot of your love for my body.
This is what I'm thinking of.
Hey, woo, I can understand. Just wanna hold your hand, watching you do.
You are now tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that is on all the time, anytime. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the next big thing, the latest up-and-coming sports journalist, your host, Nathan Snell.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony Handy, for that wonderful introduction. Happy Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host, Nathan Snell of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. I hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all staying safe. This is episode 2, season 16 of the podcast. As you see the title, we are recapping the Washington Commanders' first preseason dub against those Cleveland Brownies. But before we get into that, there's a few things I want to say up front. Episode 1 will be uploaded, as well as this episode 3. Have those up no later than Thursday evening tops. We'll get episode 4 previewing games. Well, the Washington Commanders and the Ravens game. We'll preview that over the weekend. Some things, again, there's things I want to talk about that occurred while I was on quote unquote vacation, school, and work, other outside commitments. But we will talk about that as well in some other episodes. We are approaching the end of the WNBA season. We're less than a month away from the season being over. You can still follow me on MarylandSportsBlog.com for Mr. content. I'm hoping to have coverage in person again where we cover the Dallas Wings. We play the Dallas Wings and a couple other teams. The Las Vegas Aces and the Atlanta Dream. I'm going to cover those home games specifically. So, yes, but thank you again for tuning in. Thank you for the support you've given me, this channel, and this podcast. Please continue to like, comment, and subscribe. The content that you're seeing, feedback is always welcomed. I truly, truly appreciate it. NFL preseason, NFL season is almost here. Other than college football and college basketball, we got a lot of things to keep up with. Respectfully, the Washington Commanders and the Cleveland Browns, their first preseason game. Final score was 17-15, Washington Commanders. Where do I begin? I thought the defense, to me, was the deciding factor in this game. I thought, for the most part, in this game, they carried the team to win. For me, I feel like if you've paid attention, Washington's always had a don't bend but don't break defense. I thought in the first quarter they did a fantastic job on that goal line stand. And then, obviously, to stop the potential tying 2-point conversion. I thought at times Deshaun Watson, we didn't make the adjustments on him to stop. There was one point where he ran for 20 yards on 3 carries. It was the only drive of the game, ironically. Especially when we were going to play Philadelphia, New York, that team in Dallas, we're going to have to fix that. And particularly, all three, Dak, Jalen, Daniel, they can all run. But realistically, they're going to have to fix that. Sam Howell, I thought did a good job in this game. Completed 75% of his passes. 9 of 12, if I remember correctly, 77 yards and a touchdown. He looked like a veteran out there, almost. He looked like he's been in these situations before. He was confident. His decision-making in the pocket. It didn't give it didn't look like Carson Wentz. Let me just say it like that. There was one point. This is what I look for, really in any player. But this is what I appreciate about Sam Howell. We gave up a safety, and he on the next possession led the offense on a 10-play drive that covered 80 yards, if I'm not mistaken, and had that touchdown to Jahan Dobson. For me, while in that offense, the receivers really did a good job. I'm looking for Jahan Dobson, Yami Brown, Byron Pringle also did pretty good in the game. Jacoby Brissett had himself a little decent preseason outing. They really did well. Terry McLaurin was out there, but it's preseason, so we really shouldn't be too concerned about that, respectfully. The receivers did great. I liked going back to the defense. I how much I'm a fan of Jack Del Rio, and obviously because he was a coach for the Baltimore Ravens the year they won the Super Bowl in 2000. He talked about particularly he wants to create turnovers, and they did that in this preseason game. I thought, to me, the first turnover came in the first half. Cleveland was trying to score, and I believe it was Joshua Dobbs, who was a quarterback. He threw it to somebody. I can't remember his name. Last name was Bell. And Percy Butler ended up picking it off. And then we went to the third quarter with a 2-possession lead. Then there was another one in the fourth quarter. I want to say it was Eifler, who had who had a big stop, like 1 yard. It was a stop on like a 1 yard loss, something like that. I think they ended up fumbling the ball, and it was on their 34, 35, if I remember correctly. So other than that, they did really, really well. I still saw something. But again, I'm not going to panic, and we really shouldn't panic. It's the first preseason game. Yes, there were some things that Washington definitely needs to fix, and again, they'll fix that. Sticking with the defense, talk about Deshaun Watson on the 3 carries, 20 yards. There were a lot of missed tackles. There were a lot of running lanes that should have been stuffed. When you see Deshaun Watson avoid a sack from Chase Young on a 3rd and 4, that should bother you.
I can't defend that. What do you want me to say to that?
So you got to fix things like that. As an example, there was if you look at the offensive side of the ball, yes, there were some stupid penalties. I think it was a holding one. I think that a holding penalty, I think that led to the safety. Yes, on that possession, on that drive, yes, it was a holding penalty. It led to the safety, if I remember correctly. And then also too, like you got to have discipline. Because I remember on their opening drive for Washington, they just had it was just a stupid penalty. And like the first, I think for four plays on that drive, they were moving the ball so well, and then I believe they had the punt on that same possession. So for me, there's just things that they have to just clean up on both sides of the ball. But other than that, it looked good for Washington. On the side for Cleveland, Deshaun Watson to me looked really good. Like I think he's going to have a good year. He had 3 passes, 12 yards, ran the ball, like I said, for 3 times for 20 yards. I mean, he's just out there for that possession, and that was it. And keep in mind, he didn't have Amari Cooper or Nick Chubb out there. They were in pass but didn't play, remember correctly. So other than that, they did fine. They had a guy who actually got 2 interceptions. One was just before the halftime off Jacoby Brissett. Another one was off Jake Fromm. I believe his name was Ronnie Hickman, who was the safety. So he looked. I wanted to put that out there because I remember he was like, oh, same guy who picked off Jacoby Brissett in the first half. Their other rookie quarterback, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he was 9 of 10. He had about 102 yards and a touchdown. There was actually a good play, a good drive. I think it was like almost 8 or 9 plays and covered, I want to say it was 75 yards, and had the touchdown on that drive. So, I mean, other than that, it was a good game. Washington got the win. Like I said, there are some things, like I stated, that already they got to clean, and they will. I'm confident with Sam Howell being the number one quarterback for this team. On my notes, I also said that really the offensive line, Andrew Wiley, he got called for a holding call, if I remember correctly. He's actually flagged twice for holding. That same where they got the safety, because he was sacked. Sam was sacked on his own 20. So 1st and 20, and then that was already like, ugh. So I'm kind of curious to see how they're going to straighten that up with the offensive line. I mean, this year this offensive line is completely brand new, other than Charles Leno, and watching and hearing reports for Washington, our defensive line has really made it really, really rough for our offensive line. So there's some things we had to clean up on that O-line, but I'm confident we will. But again, I would give this, if I'm grading this game, I'm giving it a B. I had no other problems. Those were pretty much my takeaways from the game. Good win. I know last year, shout out to Sean Spencer and Will Kramer, they did game balls. If I had to do one, obviously Sam Howell would get one. The defense for I think really stepping it up big time. They played a role in preventing that 2-point conversion. That's really who I would give the game balls to, Sam Howell on the defense, respectfully. And then also too, I would really give the receivers, Shaquem Dobson, Pring on those boys. They did well today as well. In Friday's game, excuse me. So that's really my thoughts on the game. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about the first game with the Commanders. I know Sean Spencer and Will Kramer, they're going to actually invite me on the show tomorrow. They actually have me as a guest tomorrow, and we're going to be breaking down. They're going to be breaking down their first preseason game for Watch the Football Weekly. Check them out. And I'll be talking about also the Ravens as we get ready to play Watch the Commanders this upcoming Monday. So before we get into that, and I did not do this in episode 1 yesterday, the sponsor of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast, that is Zagnif Apparel. Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to dress like you're already famous? You can and you will with Zagnif Apparel.
The following is a presentation of Zagnif Productions, LLC. Introducing Zagnif Apparel. Our comfortable line of leisure wear and athletic wear will have you comfortable and stylish at any occasion. Whether you're at the gym, out shopping, or just relaxing at home. Whether you're an athlete or just want to lay around the house, we've got the perfect outfit for you. Stop by our website today and pick up your favorite pieces. Zagnif Apparel. Dress like you're already famous.
You can and you most certainly will with a nice 15% off using my discount code BIGNATE for your 15% off your final purchase. Thank you, Zagnif Apparel, for being a sponsor of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. Let's get into the final thought of the podcast.
Thoughts are running through my mind, so I took some time to find a minute or two to organize.
The final thought of this podcast is, as we are getting ready for the season, I've been very open about how I feel about the media, particularly sports media, in terms of coverage. And this year, I'm going to be really paying attention to hearing how certain people in the media frame narratives with players and different things like that. My thing is, again, I just want to reiterate it. We can all agree to disagree. I get triggered when you use the same, when after a while the argument gets just old and you don't have anything else to back it up with. And great example, CJ Stroud, NFL debut, struggles. He's a rookie. He's the number 2 overall pick to a team that is literally building culture-wise, new head coach, new offensive coordinator. It's a whole new team. And we really have people in the media treating him like if he was a bust. And it's a preseason game. So it's like, I don't want to say it's a thing before you speak, but can we be a little bit more creative when we're trying to create storylines? I know we don't have much stuff to talk about in the media, but it's like, damn, like one preseason game and it's the end of the world. So again, we can agree to disagree. It's not the end of the world. I believe he'll have a bounce back, a preseason game, in my opinion. But I say all that to say is that, we have a responsibility to ensure that when we're giving an opinion, we're backing it up with facts, and more importantly, we are appreciating the greatness. Because I feel like at times we get personal and we get too blinded and not appreciating what we're seeing on whether it's basketball court, whether it's football field, baseball diamond, doesn't matter. Let's not appreciate the greatness. So I just as somebody who's still aspiring journalist in this sports media world, we just have to be better. And that's my final thought. But that concludes this episode of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. Thank you for tuning into this episode. Be tuned in for future episodes. Again, I appreciate the support you've given me, this channel. We will have all the episodes uploaded. We're getting back in the swing of things. We're uploading WNBA content, all those things. But until then, I will catch you guys on the flip side. Y'all have a good night. Peace. Stay up.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share the next big thing, the next up-and-coming sports journalist, Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
I want to thank you, yeah. I want to thank you. Ooh. For all the times you put up with me. Thank you. And you helped me retain my sanity. Thank you. I want to thank you. And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you for everything you do.